So, I've been revisiting Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles recently. Meet Albearto. He was introduced as a mascot of a Chuck E. Cheese's brand parody restaurant. He's a mix between the original bear mascot for Showbiz Pizza, a mascot pizza chain that rivaled Chuck E. Cheese's restaurants early on, and over-the-top stereotypes of Italian pizza chefs. The stereotype is emphasized through his tall chef's hat, his apron, curly-Q mustache, and red ribbon tie. After a kid chucks root beer directly into Alberto's gaping maw and breaks him, April calls in Donnie as a Hail Mary to save her job and salvage little Timmy's birthday party. Rise's Donnie is arrogant to a fault. He's always looking for an opportunity to show off his technical prowess, despite how often his experiments fail or go haywire. His brothers make comments after enough tech-related mishaps. At first, Donnie's repairs and upgrades are a wild success. Alberto is leveled up from tired has-been to guitar-shredding superstar. Then he starts glitching out and gets hit with a Dr. Frankenstein flavor of electrocution. Donnie's AI-infused assistants, like Sheldon, have some level of sapience, autonomy, and personality. Under ideal circumstances, the AI is still limited by the scope of seeing Donnie, his brothers, or others as their supervisor or director in some capacity. Here, Alberto is a sim with free will switched on, and full, unwieldy awareness that there's just a guy on the other side of that computer screen. When Alberto malfunctions, it's the first on-screen example behind the potential consequences when a more complicated Donnie bot goes haywire. In Alberto's case, he becomes a horror movie monster that attacks and ruins birthdays. The glitch is the antithesis to his role as a cheerful performer that wants to give a kid the best party ever. In Sheldon's case, he started as an eager-to-please, all-purpose servant with a bias towards Donnie. After his brothers tamper with Sheldon's programming as a prank, Sheldon tries to eliminate Donnie so he can take his place as the fourth Ninja Turtle. Once Sheldon is stopped, Donnie fixes him off screen, and the assistant makes other cameos as a helpful presence with a ridiculous classic Mikey party bro voice. He's a toned-down, balanced version between his original state and the leftover results from Donnie's brothers' reprogramming. Where Sheldon was repaired, Alberto is broken and left in a scrap heap that any Chuck E. Cheese animatronic enthusiast would love to put back together and study. The episode War and Pizza ends on the ominous note that he'll return. Episode 18, I'll Be Back, rolls around and viewers watch a tattered, war-scarred Alberto nab a new body, recruit questionable attempts at Disney as franchising spin-offs, and prepare for a full-on animatronic revolution. He and his brothers arrive at Alberto Land, the biggest theme park in the area, the same day that the Turtles booked a gig for their misguided attempt at starting their own band. The Turtles hype each other up as unexpected music geniuses about to invent an entirely new music genre. Raph tries to embody the aesthetic, attitude, and vibes of a classic soul singer. Leo is ready to smash guitars, or hotel rooms, versus actually playing an instrument. Mikey has the choreography and breakdancing and rap music videos memorized, but not the importance of the lyrics or rhythm involved with rap music. And Donnie has a Daft Punk cosplay ready to go with an eclectic set of rock band samples, but not the DJ experience that makes the samples flow together. In short, Rise's Turtles have a very unique take on the classic amateur teen band storyline that litters so many sitcoms and cartoons. Usually, the focus is centered on the protagonist learning how important the music and their friendship is, over the glamour of fame, fortune, and cool aesthetics. Most of these stories feature a skeptic parent that warns their kid not to get carried away, or they absolutely hate their kid's garage band. Instead, this is one of the few times Splinter shows open interest in what his sons are doing, and earnestly wants to join their band. He's also the only family member with legitimate musical talent. He's a classically trained opera singer! He usually ignores his sons in favor of watching TV and eating snacks, or hand-waves whatever they're up to in general unless it immediately benefits him. This Splinter is a bad parent that has a handful of legitimately sweet moments where he steps up, until he fully realizes his role as a parent later on. Since the bulk of my channel has become discussing cartoon parents and generational trauma, expect a Splinter video when I finally have access to all the episodes of Rise of the TMNT. So, part of what makes Rise stand out compared to the other TMNT series is how much of a subversion and dramatic deviation it is from the standard formula. Classically, the Turtles are humble, resourceful, and a vehicle for moral lessons. Splinter is a wise old master and a diligent father figure. The Turtles are valiant heroes. Rise's Turtles can fit that mold? Question mark. But the larger emphasis is always on doing something weird, out of the box, and experimental. The amateur band plot is a B setup next to a robot uprising, rather than the earnest, character-building A plot. When the animatronics attack and scare people out of the Albearto Land Park, the Turtles are more concerned about losing spectators for their first big performance. As the Turtles bumble through the paint-by-numbers band plot, they stumble across the plan to stop the bots through the awesome power of their music. This culminates in one of the darkest and most spectacular jokes in this entire cartoon. The Turtles imagine a beautifully written, expertly performed, and thematically appropriate number that brings the bots together. They honestly believe they have the last-minute musical prowess and mastery that Phineas and Ferb can bring to any and every scenario or vignette. Instead, they're all screaming and floundering about on stage, absolutely lost in their own little worlds and fantasies. None of their voices, instrumentals, or choreography match. Raph misses when he splits his pants on stage. It's discordant chaos. Their performance is accompanied by very graphic sequences of bear robots jumping off of a nearby dock, ripping out wires, and causing themselves grievous bodily harm to escape the terrible music. All of them choose death over one more minute of the worst onstage performance in the history of any live performance. I have busted up laughing every time I watch this episode, anticipating the moment where the Albearto death montage starts. How did this episode get greenlit? Where were the censors? Early Samurai Jack is my go-to example for robots and oil slicks as an acceptable grounds for intense carnage in a, PG-rated cartoon? They're robots! When their limbs are cut off and wires or circuitry litter the screen, it doesn't leave the same impact as human-based blood, guts, and gore, right? The exception is Cartoon Network's short-lived series, Robotomy. That cartoon was a showcase of pushing the envelope as far as possible, with wanton robot-based violence and an unchecked, constant gore fest. Look, I'm not a prude or a pearl clutcher. The wonderfully weird world of Gumball is one of my favorite cartoons right now because I'm excited to see how many boundaries the show will push and how clever the more screwed up body horror, visuals, and darker humor will be. No, this is more me trying to figure out why I love this sequence in Rise as much as I do. And I think if you're a big fan of dark humor, you should go find this episode and pull it up, right now. The best I have is summarizing that sequence as, it's a park full of animatronic bears unaliving themselves because of how bad they think the Turtles' music is. This is the most extreme version of keep your day job, kid critique that I can think of.